Okay, I'm back. Was helping some people with their garden stuff. I am going to be way too lazy to edit that whole section out of the video preceding this, so you're all just gonna have to skip past it. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, we're waiting for this guy who does not see me to move. Anyways, don't you love how that book... Where is he going?
All visiting corporate representatives must report to their nearest synthetic.
Just still standing there, I guess. Okay, yeah, so still standing there.
Apollo is reporting a good service throughout Sevastopol.
Well, do it somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
We don't forget the little details when seeing the big picture.
Still standing there, gosh. Walk away. Anyways, you love how easy it is to take oppression seriously? That was written in 1956, the 50s. We're recording this video in 2025, and the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells still can't even be asked to show a single iota of solidarity between the protagonist and quote-unquote formers.
You know my face.
Okay, now we go. And try not to get eaten by a xenomorph up in the fucking vent. Thanks for the warning, hiss that I probably couldn't hear. Thanks. Good job. Can I go under here? Yeah, yes I can. I want to see if I can see it. I probably can't though. I don't know why I'm whispering. I don't need to whisper. The xenomorph can't hear me. Which way? Let's do this. Hurry up. You don't need camera feed active. Just turn everything off, because fuck these guys. That's why. The xenomorph just moved again. Got some cover. I don't hear the xenomorph.
Why not let's reverse Sevastopol safety protocols?
Got all those down already. Good for us. You think something is going to stop us right at the very end? Something is moving. Is this the way I'm supposed to be going? I think we're good. Haha! We got an achievement too. Contact your team and escape comms with ... We don't get to know. Okay, it's just not going to tell us. That's a bad sign. Yeah, that's even worse. So bad. And there's only one vent. I don't like... Oh, okay. Is this the spot where I kept getting lost? I think it is, because those are the stupid stairs. This is where so we're upstairs. This is where I'm not even crouching. This is where I found this little hacky thing. I don't like this. The xenomorph is in here. It's just the doors staring me. And something moving. Look at all these vents. So, if the stairs are on this image, does that mean I just go that way? I would like to presume that they won't be mean enough right now to make the xenomorph actually come out and eat me. I assume it'll mostly just be drooling. It did eat people in this room while I was up on the stairs. Now I'm literally just sneaking in here from the other way. Wrong button! You shouldn't be allowed to do that, computer. Stop it. I guess I should have that. Why do I... Oh, I do have a gun. Okay. I would like to not use it. At least I know where I'm going this time. Sounds like a fan. Is this door locked on me? That is not fair. Oh, okay. No, I'm just good. Just going the wrong way. Just have to go down here, and then there's a safe spot. And not walk under any drool. I died like 5 times just figuring out the pattern of the patrols, and then I finally figured it out and then got by the xenomorph in the ceiling. It's probably fine. Woohoo! We got a save point! Oh no. Yeah. Xenomorph making ominous noises.
Station serving Seeks and Communication Technologies, tech support services.
Oh my god, there's people. Hi. Hello. I'm not sure there's supposed to be two of them. Unless they're identical twins. We're all gonna die. Sorry. There's scary music. Which door? Which place am I supposed to go in? They said near medical. Science med.
Extremely sorry for the current disruption in services.
Can I talk to these guys, or are they just gonna get scared if I approach them? Oh, it's bad noise. I was gonna say you guys could come with me. We can all try to escape together. Don't go that way. I think there's a xenomorph that way. All right. Okay. Oh god. Scary noises. Science medical. SciMed. That's another thing. Like, Martha Wells is just copying this crap, but not even doing the anti-capitalism properly. I think this is where we're supposed to be going. Transit to Sevastopol SciMed Tower. Take the transit to the SciMed Tower, yeah. Wish we could invite these guys along with me, but that would probably get them killed. Hope you live. There's so many xenomorphs here.
Yeah.
A little acrobat ant. Does it have a diamond-shaped abdomen? That's the same. That's the abdomen. Hi, Samuels. I think we're good.
Ripley, Taylor's over here.
Thanks, Samuels. You know he had to do it to them.
Ripley? Is that Ripley?
Yeah.
Try and rest, Taylor.
How is she?
She needs treatment. Medical's nearby, but I didn't want to leave her.
Can I talk? I guess
I'll
I'm
go
supposed to be standing in front.
See what I can find. You stay with her.
I'll try to repair the radio booster. What if this creature shows up?
Hide.
Unauthorized security breach detected. All transit shut down by order of Apollo.
Jerk faces.
Stay with me, Taylor. Ripley's finding help.
Save point. Look, I'm not even... That's me trying to open the map.
Your safety is important to us. Please report all transit malfunction.
I can save the game, Samuels. It's supposed to go this way. Was that a cloud of xenomorph breath coming out of the map? Is there a map section I can get? Yeah. I'm not clicking the mouse. Fuck you, cameras. Look at people.
Locked.
Yeah, I know, but look at those people. They're probably gonna die. Did I see a revolver? Plasma torch required. I don't know. Is it possible to play this game 100% stealth?
Need some help?
I need a doctor. Hello? I need a...
I can't hear you. Hang on. Come on, I'll open the elevator for you. Come on, come. There's no time to lose.
I am. Any commentary you would like to make while I slightly less fail at this? We listened to the Velvet Glove successfully. And now the cat's making weird noises while he grooms himself directly behind me. Just the fact that people are reading the series because they want it to actually go somewhere. Nobody is reading this to be an endless filler arc. People are reading it because they want to see Murderbot actually learn to have self-worth for itself as its own person, and not in how much it can put itself in harm's way for the sake of random other people. People want Murderbot to actually learn to not only accept itself, but love itself and have self-worth and heal from its trauma so it can actually be happy, because it's literally the embodiment of so many people who also suffer from social anxiety and find comfort in media. And the entire point of a character like this is to give hope to the people who are suffering the same way. By having this character just be permanently stuck in stasis on purpose, because character development and character arcs are apparently completely optional when it comes to writing. It's literally just telling all these people that they're also just doomed to be stuck in a rut like Murderbot, and all the people who are just hoping and waiting with bated breath for Murderbot to actually heal and become a better person and learn to care about other people as well as itself, beyond the chosen special humans who are its little owners that it's programmed to want to protect. There's a reason so many people are just stopped reading after book 5 came out 5 years ago, and then book 6 came out and just completely reversed course. And then anybody who still stuck around to read book 7 found that once again, 5 years later, or rather at that point, 4 years later, we are still stuck on the plot of book 5, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yep. All that. It's just infuriating. Whoa. Why are we moving the camera so much? Okay, so don't have your hand on the camera button while you're climbing ladders, or it'll just do that. Let me turn the volumes back up. If there's a xenomorph in here, we're just gonna die no matter what. Just keep going.
Visiting hours are 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Okay. Oh, look, we're the one who came out of the vent. I This is so bad, man. Why would you make us drop into here? What a terrible person to make us do this. Can you at least turn the lights off? Map. He like seriously needs to turn the lights off so I can at least hide. But presumably we won't die in the next 5 seconds because we have to talk to this guy. Again, not even touching the mouse. That's what got me killed the one time. Yay! Safe spot. Is there a sticker on there? Yes, there is. Here is the dude.
Ripley, I need to find a doctor.
I'm a doctor.
My friend needs help. Medical supplies.
Me too. There are no supplies on this level. But there are plenty downstairs in the hospital dispensary.
How do we get there?
We? Do I look like I'm in any fit state? I need your help and you need mine. You find the passcode for the service elevator and then I'll come down to the hospital with you, okay?
Passcode?
Yeah. I can direct you from here. Morley or Lingard would have had the new passcode. Morley's office is your best bet.
What's this guy just been doing this whole time? But yeah, Martha Wells said in an interview just a few months ago that there's a book club interviewing her on YouTube, and that's a fan noise, I think. Somebody from the book club said that they heard a story about a dog. This is just dead end. A dog named Killer that bit somebody and couldn't get adopted because everybody was scared of it. And then they renamed the dog to Baby, and that made it fine magically. I don't think this person is. I don't think whoever wrote this news article understands how dog socialization works. I don't know. I thought it was like an actual. I thought they were talking about a news article. Hopefully not a news article, because that's not how dog socialization works. The point is that if you name a dog Killer, people are more likely to be scared of it. If you name a dog Baby, they're probably gonna think it's a boy. I am not clicking the goddamn mouse. And said that obviously there is irony in Murderbot choosing the name Murderbot for itself, and it's like a whole thing of the intrigue of getting people to read the stories. But the name Murderbot, hold V, press down. Okay. Things are gonna get bad now. They made me do buttons to open a door. What was I saying before the door distracted me? Oh, yeah, there's obviously irony in Murderbot's name. But there's also a whole lot of, oh look, a save point. Did I just go in another circle? Is this literally the same guy? Is this the same guy? Did I just... What? What was the point of that? Let's go... Obviously, the name Murderbot is also extremely self-deprecating because it is Murderbot constantly reminding itself of a massacre that I do have to point out probably didn't actually happen, because Martha Wells' purpose, yeah, it happened. It doesn't mean Murderbot was there, but Murderbot giving itself the name Murderbot is very clearly it punishing itself for something that wasn't its fault, if it even happened to it at all, which it probably didn't. Because just reread book 2 for me, everybody, and actually use your brain the whole time. I know it takes a lot of effort because the books actively want you to not do that. Just use your brain the whole time and actually keep track of everything that everybody says, and then keep track of what actually happens. Because Martha Wells went out of her way to instill doubt in us that Murderbot was involved with the massacre at Ganaka Pit at all. Like, went so far out of her way to make us doubt if Murderbot was actually there, and then we're never given proof that it conclusively was. So it's like, am I supposed to push a button? Yep, that's a button I'm supposed to push. That's why I went in a circle. That should have been orange or something. And now this guy's gonna lock this door behind me like a jerk. Yeah, that massacre probably did not involve Murderbot at all. And if it did, Martha Wells is really fucking...
Let's work together. Mutual benefit.
She's really bad at writing because... Why would you go out of your way to instill doubt and then not actually conclusively prove once and for all that it did happen, and then we're just supposed to ignore the part where she made us doubt it? Under this table. She went out so far out of her way to make us doubt whether or not it ever happened at all, and whether or not Murderbot was involved. And then she didn't actually prove that Murderbot was involved. We have literally no reason to believe that Murderbot was involved at all, besides the fact that she then just expects us to accept that, even though she didn't provide a single shred of proof after making us question it. That's just bad writing. So, yeah, Murderbot has the name Murderbot because it thinks, and has absolutely zero proof, that it was forced to help kill a bunch of humans when some computer virus made all the electronics go crazy.
The area you're in was for our more unstable patients, those who had trouble adapting to deep space.
Just tell me where to go, Cole.
Tragic cases. Don't worry, they're all long gone.
Why did the subtitles interrupt each other? Which way am I supposed to be going, man? I guess I should look at the motion tracker, because it'll tell me. At least there are floor vents.
That's right. Along that corridor.
Be quiet, man. Yay!
You're there. That's Morty's office. The passcode should be in there somewhere.
I feel like the xenomorph is gonna come down once we're done with this computer. I gotta get that bomb thingy there. Personnel, low on meds. Dr. Lingard, we need more supplies of mood stimulants up here. We're getting really low, and it doesn't help that Coleman seems to be handing them out like candy. Logs show he's been to this dispensary 16 times this week. We need to start rationing medication. Sevastopol's people are only going to need these more and more the closer we get to shutdown. Can you talk to Coleman? Find out where these prescriptions are going? Oh, what? Wrong button. Hold on. Hospital
I found the
quarantine.
passcode. Look, we'll need
Stop
the physical
interrupting.
keycard too. Morley always kept it on him. Find him.
Okay, man. Hospital quarantine. For senior management,
Warning.
Lizel.
Medical facility quarantine breach detected. Warning.
Relax.
Medical
I'm
facility
just trying to
quarantine
find out
breach
what that
detected.
is. You focus on finding that keycard.
Am I gonna? Yeah, that's a xenomorph. San Cristobal Medical Facility Quarantine. Active. Entrance to primary care deck now limited to marshals and senior staff. Universal Facility Passcode 1702. Systems will scan for potential quarantine breaches every 15 minutes. An Outpost of Progress, number 3. Sevastopol, An Outpost of Progress by Julia Jones. A troubled population. Where's my scroll down buttons? A troubled population. For better or for worse, the right to bear arms followed us into colonial space. Alone, vulnerable, and light years from law enforcement, who could deny our voyagers a way to defend themselves, their ships, and their families? The flip side of this argument is Sevastopol, where gun crime is rampant. Endlessly turning circles in a neglected corner of space, its people are downbeat and disconsolate. Those who could afford to leave did so years ago, abandoning friends and neighbors among empty stores, creaking systems, and the forgotten dreams of the deep space economic boom. Sevastopol's people feel deceived, tempted here by corporations that refuse to recognize the deep space bubble was about to burst. They are angry, desperate, and increasingly divided. Recent colonial martial clampdowns on the black market have increased resentment. Every day it feels as if the station has edged a little closer to freefall. Okay, that's it. Now, keep that thing. Now, there's a xenomorph in here with me. Maybe you already was. And now we're just gonna deal with a bunch of more alarms going off. This dude's like not in a thing in here, is he? Oh my god, okay. If you see me saying I don't know where to go, just tell me to use the motion sensor. It gives you a fucking direction. I'm clicking the map, not that. So there's a locked door up here, and I have to use a vent to go between them. Oh, Dr. Morley's over this way. And there's a xenomorph in here with me. It's in here with me, alright. Whoever stood there to get that gif is braver than a U.S. Marine. No, scary music. Also, it really is pissing me off because book 3 of the Murderbot Diaries has them going to an abandoned terraforming platform, and Martha Wells has Murderbot keeps mentioning, oh, there could be aliens. What if there's monsters? And it's like really fucking irritating that she keeps saying that and then there never are. Like, just stop acting like that's a possibility if you're gonna be boring. Stupid. Literally. Maybe I should have been looking to see where the xenomorph won't. But yeah, the Murderbot Diaries is failing every lesson. There it is. Failing every lesson. Failing every lesson. Can you hear me, Xenomorph? Can you hear me, Xenomorph? Hey, Xenomorph, do you hear me? Do you hear the microphone? Hello? I don't know. That's not a setting anywhere I can find it. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. Can the Xenomorph hear me? I don't think it can, or it probably would have reacted to that. What the fuck was I saying? Besides, oh yeah, it's a failure to heed literally every single fucking lesson that the Imperial Ratch had to make, including the most basic of dehumanizing disabled people, including cyborgs, is bad and is a thing only fascists do. We get comments about fascists in the Imperial Ratch series, which Martha Wells says directly inspired the Murderbot Diaries. We get quotes in that series about how now that the protagonist... Oh, was I supposed to hide under this bed? Right here. How about how fascists in that series don't see people with cybernetic don't see people with prosthetics and cybernetic prosthetics, aka cyborgs, as being human, specifically because they're fascists. They're the literal fucking...
It is warm. You are among friends. The sun is
Fuck
high
up.
in the sky.
Oh, bad noises, bad noises, bad noises. Get under this bed. We're gonna die. We're dead. Oh my god, right there. Nope, that's not even it. Is it? Oh, it is. I thought that was like xenomorph-shaped pipes. No, it is the xenomorph. The fascists, space Nazi fascists in the Imperial Ratch think that having cybernetic Why is the music increasing? Think that having prosthetics means you're not human because they're the bad guys. Is it sneaking up on me or what? At least the xenomorph is probably not smart enough to look where those cameras are looking, considering this guy's following me around the whole entire time. It's too late. We're dead. We're dead. The bad guys say that. Now it's telling me my objective is over that way. That's weird. It's hard for me to. My computer system. I like can't move the camera when I have that thing on. Whoop. Xenomorph's gonna come back down from. It's hanging out directly above that vent. So we just have to wait for it to go somewhere else again. Oh, nope, okay. Moving off. Probably have to get a card or something in here. Ugh. It needs to be louder when it leaves the vents. Cheater. No, I can't. You can finish. Anyways, a fan asked a question and related it to a possible short story they had read where a dog was previously named Killer and everybody was afraid of it and thought it was super scary. And then the dog was renamed to Baby, which helped change public perception enough that people showed it kindness, and it was able to be kind itself and find a forever home, or something similar to that. And the interviewer asked Martha Wells the question of, would Murderbot ever get to a point where it would consider changing its name from Murderbot to something else of its own choosing, as a way to show that it no longer views itself solely as a indiscriminate murder machine, and that who was to be blamed for a massacre it had no choice in, and as a way to show that it has healed from its trauma, or is at least starting to heal. This could be step one of an amazing journey of self-acceptance, eventually leading to self-love and a firm sense of self-worth outside of it throwing its literal life away for the sake of other people. And Martha Wells kind of laughed, said, deliberately misconstrued the question and said, no, Murderbot naming itself Baby would be physically painful for it. And then said that she does not do character arcs or character development, and that writing character arcs and character development are one system of writing. And then said that Murderbot will never change its name, and Murderbot will never change. And it's part of its core programming that it wants to be able to see itself as a protective force while still having that capacity for violence. And just, again, the whole saying that character development and character arcs are not a thing in her writing, and especially not where Murderbot is concerned, and any step towards growth or healing or evolution of character to a natural conclusion. Which means if you're still reading this series and you are still hoping that maybe next book Murderbot will have a change of heart and start seeing itself as having its own value outside of what it can literally give of its life to other people. This just shows, just like I realized with the books of the Raksura, that Moon did not ever change. Moon did not ever have any change of heart. He only had very slight changes of circumstances. The main character of that series has 4.5 books of events with his life supposedly changing in the most dramatic ways, and he still is never given any real moments of happiness and never feels like he belongs, and is surrounded by all these people who supposedly care about him, that he just doesn't believe that, and he never will. And it's not even the point of the story that he's never going to feel this way. It's just a thing that you notice, and there's no conclusion to it. It's not a point about him in particular and his life. You're not even really supposed to notice that he's just literally never happy, and he's never felt like he belongs, and he never will. He never makes an actual choice to stay. He's just there out of habit and just doing things because it's expected of him, not because he actually wants to do these things. He feels like he owes it to these people, that if he wants to stay and have a place here and not get kicked out on his ass and abandoned all over again, that he has to keep showing that he's valuable. And like, he's literally never happy. The series ends, he's got a wife, he's got children that he's always wanted, and we don't even, the children matter so little to the character and the plot that I know he's got 5 of them, but I could not tell you what their genders are, and I could not even tell you what their names are. That's how little these literal children that this main character has wanted since book 1 matter to the plot and the character and the actual story. And it's going to be the same thing with Murderbot. Murderbot will literally never actually have any moment where it realizes it has value outside of throwing itself in the line of fire to protect other people. Murderbot will never have a moment where it realizes it can create its own media instead of endlessly and mindlessly consuming the same TV shows over and over again. Murderbot will never see its favorite media in a new light and find inspiration in it. Just the fact that we all know the show is called World Hoppers, or The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary, but then the actual content of that media doesn't make any actual appearance in the books in any way, shape, or form outside of a random, funny soap opera one-liner description where Murderbot is relatable about recognizing a character from the most overcomplicated description ever. And if an actual author who was actually interested in character development and character arcs and, believed in those things in the first place as a major component of writing and why we tell stories and why people want to read stories, would understand that if you're going to make a character who is obsessed with media and has comfort media that it repeatedly watches, that if you want that to actually be something authentic and meaningful in your story, that you have to actually develop that story within the story. Like, this entire time, we should have been watching a few episodes and have Murderbot describe watching the events of specific episodes over and over and over again of the rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon. And every time Murderbot is watching that episode again, lines that Murderbot has heard thousands of times before, and we the audience have seen at least dozens of times now. Every time we are seeing those scenes again as Murderbot's journey and story evolve, those lines are staying the same, but we are finding new significance in them. This is a very basic premise of, it's not a frame story, because a frame story is where it could be a frame story, but it's not a frame story. I'm thinking of another literary device. But anybody who has played Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core probably knows exactly what I am talking about with the play called Loveless. That one of the main characters, I don't know if he's an antagonist or not, that Genesis in Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, who there might even be a remake of this game floating around these days that's not on ancient PSP. But if you would like to see how a story within a story gains new significance and meaning to the characters and the audience over time, either get yourself a PSP and play this game, see if there's a remake, or just go onto YouTube. And if you really want to cry, you can just watch a cutscene movie of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. And you can just watch, and as you watch these cutscenes, or maybe you watch somebody actually play the game, I don't know how long that would take, but Genesis, Mr. Cool, badass character with a traumatic backstory, who actually changes and evolves over time and is a very interesting character, is absolutely obsessed with a play called Loveless, which exists just within the universe of Final Fantasy VII. There's Easter egg, it's mentioned. You can see it on billboards and on street flyers and stuff in the original PS1. Yeah, PlayStation 1 game. And it's probably especially prominent in the Final Fantasy VII remake. And he is just continually quoting this play, and it's part of his character that he is obsessed with this play and quoting it to the point that all of his best friends know exactly which act of the play he is quoting because he's just constantly reciting it to them. Let me find an actual quote from it real fast. What is a point of interest? This is a computer But yeah, while I'm looking this up, literally just go onto YouTube if you don't have a PSP or, PSP emulator, and just even if you've never seen or played Final Fantasy VII, you probably at least know a little bit of it from Phantom Osmosis. Just do yourself a favor, and if you're not going to play it or the remake doesn't exist and you won't play it, just look up and start watching the cutscene movie of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. So, throughout all of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, Genesis is one of the characters that our main protagonist, Zack, looks up to as one of his heroes. He's one of his superior officers in the military organization they are part of that serves the Shinra Power Electric Company. Once again, actual anti-capitalist and actual environmentalist messages, where in the events of Final Fantasy VII, the main protagonists are literally a terrorist group who go around bombing and destroying these power plants built by this one monopoly company that is literally sucking the life out of the planet. And the entire core premise of Final Fantasy VII is that you have to get your hands dirty and in resistance against absolute fascism and world-destroying governments and monopolies and people who are destroying the environment. That you have to actually stand up for what is right, even if it gets you branded on the other side of the law, and all these different things. That I'm sure there's plenty of Final Fantasy VII remakes videos and stuff out there that you can watch it in HD. There's probably also just a million people actually playing the original game. I got stuck and got forever lost on the overworld map by accident, and then ran into the Omega boss. So, yeah, I got annihilated, and then I gave up playing at that point. I'll probably try it again at some point when I have a guide. Yeah, don't wander around. Actually, no, I didn't get lost in the overworld. I did find my way back, and then I got stuck in a fucking temple where I was just endlessly running from left to right. They can figure it out when they look it up. PS1 graphics, baby. Anyways, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. The Final Fantasy wiki page, helpfully, has the various quotes from the play and the acts that are known listed out in chronological order. So one way that it's very simple, that if you have a character who is obsessed with a specific book series, or in this case, a television show or play, and it's important to that character, you can make it actually important to the audience and the story by actually making it a thing within your universe that has meaning and deeper themes that connect to your plot, even if it doesn't seem like it right away. When the war of the beast brings about the world's end, the goddess descends from the sky. Wings of light and dark spread afar, she guides us to bliss, her gift everlasting. Infinite in mystery is the gift of the goddess. We seek it thus, and take to the sky. Ripples form on the water's surface. The wandering soul knows no rest. See, probably just hormonal, but I'm literally gonna cry just from this, because Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is really good. It's even worse when you play Final Fantasy VII and you make the hilariously tragic mistake of renaming Cloud, because you can do that in other Final Fantasy games. You can give the main character your own chosen name, specifically knowing certain things from later in the game, and then naming Cloud Zack, and just playing the whole game with everybody referring to Cloud, your main character, as Zack. Yeah, it's a horrible mistake. I highly recommend it. 3 friends go into battle. 1 is captured. 1 flies away. The one that is left becomes a hero. I made this edit for Birth by Sleep. Dreams of the morrow hath shattered the soul. Pride is lost. Wings stripped away, the end is nigh. There is no hate, only joy, for you are beloved by the goddess, hero of the dawn, healer of worlds. My friend, do you fly away now, to a world that abhors you and I? All that awaits you is a somber morrow. No matter where the winds may blow, my soul, corrupted by vengeance, hath endured torment to find the end of the journey in my own salvation, and your eternal slumber. Obviously you can't see it, but I am crying, but I'm also smiling because I love tragedies. And because this is what a fucking story that has meaning is supposed to do to you. There's a reason we owned, like, at least, probably 11 copies of Final Fantasy X in its PlayStation 2 incarnation, because it kept getting broken and we kept having to buy new discs because we were playing it for years on end. My friend, the fates are cruel. There are no dreams, no honor remains. The arrow has left the bow of the goddess. My friend, your desire is the bringer of life, the gift of the goddess. Legends shall speak of sacrifice at world's end. The wind sails over the water's surface, quietly but surely. Even if the morrow is barren of promises, nothing shall forestall my return. To become the dew that quenches the land, to spare the sands, the seas, the skies, I offer thee this silent sacrifice. And that there is the 5 acts of Loveless that we know of, that we are given in various orders over and over and over again, by Genesis, until we, the audience, know exactly what the character is going to say, and we are anticipating the next verse to see what the next line will be that is unknown to us. At first, these verses just seem like random poetry from a random play that's not gonna matter. But as the story of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core unfolds, every new line that is revealed to us has new and deeper significance and connection with the ongoing story of these actual characters that they are experiencing. The goddess in question is easily connected to Genova, the fallen star, an alien monstrosity. Don't quite know the specifics, who fell upon. Yeah, it might need to be translated. But the three heroes in the story take on instead of just being random pretty poetry, the three characters that we are told exist in this play through these poetry, they then become symbols of the three mentors to our main character as he pursues them across the world, as they become strange and alien to him and begin acting differently and just going through their own relationship horrors and traumas with their past, as so many horrible things that have happened to them and are happening to them come to light. Like Genesis and Geo, Sephiroth. Like, you as a writer, saying that character development and character arcs are not an essential part of your writing, and pretty much that you do not believe in them and you don't use them, is like one of the worst things you could ever say. But it is good to hear it out loud and have it confirmed after reading the whole books of the Raksura and lightly enjoying it the way first time through as a fun little world that it's just interesting to see it in print instead of just various fan fiction things that people have been writing forever. And then looking deeper into what's actually being written and shown. And just the main character's complete and utter lack of progress in any way, despite his increasingly different life circumstances. The fact that he has just stayed the same and realizing that he never will change. It's at least a nice little confirmation that I wasn't just, making that a big deal or nothing. It's literally a product of her writing. And like, one of the things that people who first read the Murderbot Diaries as their first introduction to her writing, and then they go back and they at least try, most of them give up, at least try to read the books of the Raksura series as a fantasy series, which is slightly easy to get into if you're a sci-fi fan, and then most of them just don't read or don't finish the first book because it's absurdly overcomplicated. All of these people come away saying, oh, so Moon is just Murderbot 1.0. And the people who first read the books of the Raksura, and then they go to read Murderbot, and they say, oh, Murderbot is just Moon 2.0. And then, because none of these people have actually read any of her other bajillion and one books that she's published over the years, you read any of these sci-fi and fantasy stories, and then you go and read her short stories, and you realize, City of Bones, Wheel of the Infinite, such as the City of Bones, not to be confused with Clarissa Clary or whatever the fuck her name is, the Wheel of the Infinite, the Wizard Hunters, etc. You read these books and you realize, the one short story called Wolf Night, Wolf Night, yeah, with an N, not a K. That's for free online. Some website has a collection of short stories and stuff. Just Google Wolf Night, Martha Wells, it'll come up. It was part of a submitted short story thingy that website was doing. Yeah, you go back and you read literally any and all of her other published fictional works, and you realize that every single one of her protagonists are identical. They might have slightly different physical descriptions, but their personalities are interchangeable. You could take, with one exception. There is exactly one exception to this pattern, and that is Emily from Emily in the Hollow World, because Emily has no personality whatsoever. If you've ever done any kind of writing class in any way, you might have heard the word passive protagonist or something like that, or a passive character. You don't know the meaning as a bad thing. You don't know the meaning of passive protagonist until you read Emily and the Hollow World. That is Emily with an IE at the end, not a Y. This character is so passive that she could just not exist and literally nothing about the story would change. I'm like 90% convinced that Martha Wells originally wrote this as a fantasy series with just random omniscient narration and then had to invent a 16-year-old protagonist who doesn't even act like a 16-year-old to justify putting it into the young adult category, because I guess the Hunger Games was blasting off right then and making a young adult boom. But yeah, every single one of the protagonists in every single one of her published sci-fi, fantasy, short stories, etc., except for Emily in the Hollow World, which is a summation of what not to do. They're all completely and utterly interchangeable. Even the passivity of Emily in the Hollow World. None of the characters really make any actual effort or choices to pursue different things. They are just dragged around by other people. They're just going along with whatever the plot says without them ever actually making any coherent choices of their own to set out and do something. Like they're literally just coasting along, going with whatever everybody else says. Is that true also in the Wizard Hunters or whatever? Yep. Whatever thing with Tremaine? She just had somebody come to her house and say, hey, wanna go do some magic? And she said, sure. Yeah. Characters just don't really make any decisions for themselves. They don't do anything with any real purpose. They're just kind of coasting along to wherever the plot needs them to be. Without it, it's hard to describe. But if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But all of these characters are completely interchangeable, and even just the protagonist in the short story called Nightwolf, or Wolf Knight. I'm just gonna keep calling it Nightwolf. In Wolf Knight, literally, I read it, and it's astonishing. Like, if you like Murderbot as a character, you'd probably like all of her protagonists, because they are all just Murderbot, and Murderbot is just all of them. All of these people. You could just pick up you could just take away whatever special abilities / weapons each of these characters has, chuck them into the events of a different series she's written, and it would all go exactly the same. They're all snippy, they're all internally sarcastic, they're all mean, and they're all hyper competent and will literally never experience any consequences or make any bad decisions that actually affect them in any meaningful way ever. They're also just overpowered as shit and are never wrong, and they have amazing instincts and are also just extreme. Like, did I mention? They're all just extremely mean and sarcastic at all times. I think other people have mentioned it, but in the first 2 books of the Murderbot Diaries, Murderbot has a specific personality, and then in book 3, the snarkiness, the sarcasticness, and the meanness just come out of nowhere, full throttle, and the cruelty just come out of complete nowhere. And the books try to retcon into acting like that's how Murderbot always was. But if you go by having Pinley in particular comment about how, oh, I forgot how much of an asshole you were when Murderbot, when that doesn't make any sense for how many words and what Murderbot did for all these people in book 1. And yeah. Yeah, no, Murderbot did not say anything even remotely mean, cruel, or particularly sarcastic out loud or in the feed to anybody in book 1. It was literally just... excuse that they're reading his narration because it sent them this. It sent them this. It doesn't excuse it. But yeah, anyways. Just... if you're reading the Murderbot Diaries series, and if you've somehow gotten to book 7 and you still have your hopes up, I lost any faith in this series doing anything. yeah, I was excited at the end of book 5, and I'm not gonna read the next one. I'll maybe listen to it in the background if we get the audiobook from the library with the Libby app, but I'm not gonna be paying attention, and I just don't care. I'm just hoping that this point that when book 8 comes out, and it's also confirmed not even going to be from Murderbot's perspective, so take that how you will. I'm just hoping more people will realize that the sunk cost fallacy is a thing, and it's time to bail out before they commit even more of their time and energy and money and just emotional bandwidth into a series and a character that will literally, and an author that will literally never actually do anything meaningful with the story, which has been going for about almost a decade now. So, yeah. The next book is not from Murderbot's perspective, and there is a contracted 9th book that will follow at some point. Neither of these things have a release date. The last book came out in 2023. They will probably not be coming out. One of them will probably not come out until 2026, and if not even 2027. And just to remind everybody, the plot has been completely and utterly stalled since book 5 came out in 2020. It has been 5 years since Murderbot the ending of book 5 was Murderbot and Art talking about Murderbot actually agreeing and happily signing up to go on adventures, specifically with Art, and to travel the world, travel the universe with its friend, Art, and actually be able to just relax and do things together. I can't remember what the exact thing that they were going to do was, but they had gotten off the planet, and they had tied up all the loose ends from the plot of that big first novel, and they were literally just waiting for some random backup to arrive to tie up the rest of the loose ends so they could happily leave. They were already off the planet, they were flying away, and we got this big, huge, Earth series shattering promise that the next book would be an amazing adventure of Murderbot and Art going off together to rescue planets from corporations and all this. That was the end of book 5 in 2020. Then book 6 came out. I don't remember what year off the top of my head, but it's back to being a novella, and it's a murder mystery set on preservation, and no events from book 5 have been mentioned at all, and we have no explanation for why Murderbot is suddenly and randomly back on preservation, just puttering around doing literally nothing except investigating a random murder of a nobody on preservation. And it's supposed to be a mystery story, but it's a horribly written mystery story. It's not a mystery, and nothing's happening except Murderbot us once again being told that we should not trust slaves who escape slavery because they might just be fake escaped slaves who are spying for the corporations and will kill everybody if you give them the chance. And again, this followed on the heels of book 5's earth-shattering revelation that the next entry in the series would be an epic adventure where things would actually begin to change for the better. And then book 6 just comes around and is set some unspecified time before book 5, with no indication of this anywhere in the book at all. That I was so confused. I thought we'd done like a time skip of like years or something, and yeah, it's just a random, complete and utter interruption of the actual ongoing chronological story to just, I want to say pad the runtime, but to pad the release order and just completely alienate everybody who'd been anxiously waiting for book 6 to come out, only to realize that it's some random thing set between books like 2 and 4 or something. Or I guess books 4 and 5 for absolutely no reason. And then finally, book 7 comes out, and we're definitely going to be finally going out and doing something new with art, like was promised in the end of book 5, and hadn't happened with book 6, right? Right? No. Book 7 literally just takes the ending of book 5, comma, throws it out the window, pretends it didn't happen, pretends none of that resolution and promise of new adventures happened, and promise for change happened, and just says, oh, we gotta go back to the planet because, actually no, it's not even we have to go back to the planet. They literally get retconned so that they haven't even left the planet yet, even though in book 5 they were flying away from the planet on a spaceship and everything, like literally leaving the system and everything. And then book 7 just retcons that completely and utterly and says, oh, we're still on the planet, and we're gonna do an anime roundtable of exasperated, over-the-top reactions of us being called back to pad the word count. And we have to convince the colonists that or I think this was like an uber secret extra colony they had to go find, and we have to convince them to not agree to slavery for the corporation that's I think we just beat in the last book. Because if they agree to be slaves, they'll be slaves. And obviously we all know in a capitalist dystopia, if they just politely refuse to sign a contract, I mean, obviously nothing bad can happen to them then. We just have to convince them to not sign these slavery contracts. Just say no to slavery. Nothing bad will happen to you. To being enslaved. Just say no. Just say no to being enslaved. And we promise these evil fascist corporations, pinky promise, they won't still just take your fucking colony by force and literally enslave you. Yeah, like the entire actual amazing, hopeful, inspiring ending of book 5 just gets completely chucked out the fucking window in favor of taking what seemed like it was all deleted scenes or the second half of an already overinflated novel that was book 5 and just stretching it out into yet another overinflated novel that doesn't do anything for a solid 100+ pages. More than that. Nothing fucking happens in this book. The characters are literally just endlessly walking around some fucking tunnels for forever. And Murderbot keeps saying, oh, I'm such a failure. I really fucked up. A thing that there was no indication of literally anything going on there. It's like we walked into a room and I saw a door on the side, and then later it's like, oh, there was actually another door, which I didn't notice because I'm so useless and just doing all of this bullshit. It's just so fucking horribly written. We could have... The way to do this properly, which Martha Wells refuses to do because she doesn't want Murderbot to ever actually fuck up and actually do something wrong that is demonstrably and inarguably Murderbot's fault. I will give you the most basic fucking example possible. It is so fucking easy. Have Murderbot and the humans of the week be walking around, and one of the humans says, hey, I think I heard a noise over there. And Murderbot says, shut the fuck up, you're a stupid human, I'm the goddamn security, because you people are useless, and you don't know anything about security, so shut the fuck up and let me do my job. Because that's how Murderbot acts, because for some fucking reason, making Murderbot constantly shit on humans and calling them useless is something. And now, just have Murderbot say, shut the fuck up, human. I'm the one doing security here, because you're the fucking useless human who needs to be protected by me, who actually knows what I'm doing. There's nothing over there. Shut the fuck up. I'm doing something. Murderbot doesn't say this part out loud, but the whole point here is that it should fucking say it out loud for once if she wants to pretend that everybody knows Murderbot's an asshole, when it only very abruptly became a massive asshole in book 3 for no good fucking reason, and then we just retcon and pretend this has been its personality the whole entire time, even though it very clearly was not. She's just lying. Oh, look, there it is. And she's just lying to us, and that xenomorph is literally standing directly. Bye. Also, if you play this game, don't touch the tail. There are sensors in the tail, and it will kill you. You might be tempted to go, ooh, let's touch the tail. Don't. You'll die. You'll die. But yeah, that's how you would show Murderbot actually fucking up and actually making mistakes, by having a human point out, I heard something this way, or I saw movement, and then Murderbot just says, no, I'm the fucking security. You're the stupid human that just does nothing but shut up and follow me and don't die. And then what do you know? It turns out that the human was right. There was something over there, and it's a fucking a xenomorph, for fucking example, since it's a ripoff. It's a shitty no xenomorph AU that fails to understand anything that's going on here. And then everybody gets fucked up, and maybe, just maybe, one of the humans of the week could even fucking die. But that's never gonna happen because Martha Wells only wants to kill off fucking slaves in this series. Notice that? Notice how we've never had a fucking human that we are supposed to like die? It's only the fucking literal slaves. Even though this is supposed to be about how slaves deserve freedom. No, we're just gonna keep killing off the slaves though. And keep all the slave owners alive. And yes, preservation Ox are in fact slave owners, because you don't get to literally go entire solar systems out of your way that you literally don't need to do to rent out a slave. If you rent out a slave, you're a slave owner. Doesn't matter that you're just renting that slave out. You're a goddamn slave owner. You are participating in slavery. Your wife life is now forfeit. But yeah. It'd be so easy to actually have Murderbot fuck up and make mistakes. Just literally have Murderbot purposefully ignore something that somebody points out that then causes irreparable damage. And I say irreparable because Martha Wells also doesn't grasp that stories need to have stakes. If literally everybody knows that none of your characters will ever be hurt in any way that matters, or will even last a fucking chapter or two, because you literally just magically heal them every single fucking time, then you're gonna be dropping readers like, where does that expression even come from? Dropping like flies. That's a weird expression. I've never known flies to drop. Yeah, you're gonna eventually lose readers, because nobody wants to fucking read a story where literally nothing ever matters, and that's what Martha Wells just keeps proving every single time. Murderbot gets blown up, or chopped up, or shot, and is bleeding everywhere, and lost 20% of body mass. That's like the equivalent of a human losing a limb. And like, what do you mean that's the equivalent? Did you lose a limb or not? And then magically gets fixed before the chapter's over, or before the next chapter begins. Literally in All Systems Red, Murderbot got catastrophically damaged, literally 3 times, and twice of those were before the final fight even happened, and after each of those, it was literally back to 100%, like the first fight didn't happen, before the next fight even begins. So we cannot even be bothered to have even the tiniest bit of stakes from one fight to another. It's literally just reset your health, reset your status effects. You're just back 100%. Don't need to concern yourself about the future because you'll always be fine. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going in here. But instead of Murderbot actually, demonstrably, inarguably fucking up and doing something that is actually its fault, that it has actually done wrong, no, we don't get that because Martha Wells doesn't actually want to make her characters have flaws in the real fucking sense of these are bad things that the character has done wrong. So instead of getting anything of Murderbot actually messing things up, we just keep getting told that it's fucking up and making mistakes when there's no, it's not. She's literally just telling us that, and then we're just supposed to go, yeah, sure, that's true, I'll believe that. It's literally telling instead of showing, when the literal goddamn basic shit of storytelling is show, don't tell. You actually have to show us Murderbot fucking up and making mistakes and endangering the people it's trying to protect. If you want us to believe that Murderbot is actually making mistakes and endangering the people it's supposed to protect. You can't just keep having them, what's the word I'm looking for? Mosey would imply doing it happily. They're just trudging along through these endless, shitty, dark tunnels where nothing is happening. Not even, like, internal. You can have a story where nothing really physically happens. You can have a story where people are just sitting in a goddamn jail cell for 24 hours. You can have so much shit happen in that story just through conversation or internal monologue, but that's not even what's going on in this story. They're physically not doing anything. They're just walking along endless tunnels, progressing nowhere. It exists for no reason but to put more words in the story so that they can pretend this is a slightly longer novella and justify charging you like $25 fucking for it where nothing happens. And there's not even internal character growth going on because Murderbot's not allowed to actually evolve and grow as a character and change in any meaningful way. So we get no physical progression outside of the plot. We get no character progression. We don't even get any fucking world building through like the other characters of the week having conversations that are important and doing stuff. This book is just filled with useless shit happening. Would you like to try playing to get me? I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. Well, the xenomorph just came down again. But I am going to end this recording now and then just start another one, so we will hopefully not deal with shit getting corrupted again. So give me a second.